G'day, Ralph here. Welcome to Geoterrics Outdoors Australia, and welcome to part 2 of our Trailcam video. When I first started this the video a couple of months ago, I had 3 Trailcams. Well, I actually had 4, and one was the one I got from Wish, which was so bad that we just simply couldn't use the footage. And although it said it was full HD, it was the quality was terrible. We had 2 Ultra HDs and 1 full HD trail cams, and in the meantime I've bought another 3 Ultra HD trail cams. All very interesting, all very different. Where they actually are a little bit the same is when you open them up and you start programming them, and the programming software looks to be very similar, if not identical, on some of these models. We've filmed some really interesting stuff. This one here looks like a dingo or a wild dog. We've got wallabies. We got ourselves a couple of lizards, but such a distance away from the camera, unfortunately. Couldn't actually really use the footage because it was too far away from the camera. There's been some really interesting stuff. Even in our first video we found very interesting footage. We've had hits and misses, and we've actually made quite a few mistakes, and we've learnt from the mistakes. 6 cameras out, we've learnt quite a lot. So stay to the end of the video, and there's a series of tips that I can share with you on how to get the best out of your trail cam or trail cam's multi-cam setup. So hang around for that. I think you're going to enjoy this. I tell you what did you think of that footage? some of those scenes were a little comical, some were actually quite interesting, and some were very intriguing. We've got some cameras here by a waterhole where we got some of that quoll, and we've got 3 cameras out here in various angles and various light, so we'll see what it's like. But hey, I think we're going to need to have a part 3. I don't want to leave you on a cliffhanger, but some of that footage suggested that what we had here was not what we're expecting. So we'll get some more footage here, and we'll come back with a part 3. Right, so tip number 1 is put your camera at approximate head height of the animals you're trying to film. Got a bit of footage here. We've got a beautiful wallaby, or the back of a beautiful wallaby, and every so often he puts his head up and you get to see his beautiful face markings. But if we would have angled it down a little bit more, I would have got some very nice close footage. Tip 2 is don't be afraid to dress your shooting area. When I first got here, there were sticks here and all that sort of stuff, and bits of grass. Depending on what sensitivity you set the camera on, you're going to pick up every time a bit of grass moves in front of the lens, like this footage here. It's just moving along, and all we've got is footage of moving grass, which is not riveting, not even useful, and it's just hundreds and hundreds of hours that we've already accumulated of really crap video because we haven't set up properly, or we've set our sensitivity too high. Tip 3, try to set your camera up where you're going to have the biggest chance of actually filming wildlife. Quite a lot of wildlife in Australia will travel almost exclusively along wildlife trails, and finding one that's well indented and looks like it's been active, there's, you know, the grass has been squashed down, there's poo, there's evidence of the wildlife actually laying down around. They're all great spots to look for, and that's probably going to give you the biggest chance of getting footage. Tip number 4 is put your camera as close to where the action's going to be as you possibly can. We've set the camera up in the past, or the camera's up in the past, where the footage is way down there, and what you end up is something very small, and you've got to zoom that in, and you're going to lose your quality straight away. So tip number 5 is get your camera as close to horizontal as you can. Sonia set this one up, and when she walked away from it, the straps just gave way, and this thing was on an angle, and what would have been a reasonably decent shot of some wildlife, unfortunately, was just wrong. Make sure it's as horizontal as you can get, and make sure these straps are done up that it stays in the angle that you put it out in. Yeah, unfortunately this tree's got a bit of a bend to it, and to dress the scene, to make sure we've got the right sort of angles, I'm actually going to start to pack it out a little bit, just to make sure that it's actually pointing in a direction that's actually going to be helpful for the footage. So there's another tip for you. Another tip is to actually do some test footage before you walk away from the cameras. Set them up and walk past 3 or 4 times. That'll get your sensitivity, your delay, the correct height, and all the other bits and pieces. You're going to be reasonably confident that you've got a decent set of shots when they come. Another tip is, like we're doing here, this is north, and right now the sun's over here. Anything we capture here throughout the day is going to be captured in the light. If we were filming to the north here, all we'd be doing is grabbing shadows. Same as the northern hemisphere if you were filming south. You want to film with the sun behind the cameras as much as you can, so you're not going to get flares, and anything that you do shoot is going to get lit up properly. Make sure that you've got some duct tape or cloth tape, or an alternative to any belts that may break or that you may have forgotten to pack. Just realised that I'd forgotten to pack an extra strap, or it's lost in the car somewhere. And what I have here is an old belt that was in the car, and I've just had to improvise. Sometimes it probably going to be easier to use duct tape and tape it to the tree and then just pull it all off when you leave. So with the amount of filming we've had to do with these cameras to get enough decent footage for this video, we've gone through a ton of batteries. Well, not quite a ton, but gone through quite a lot. In one of these cameras I've actually got some rechargeables that they'll pay for themselves in a couple of uses, and we'll show you what the performance is like possibly in part 3. Hey, if you've enjoyed this video, please give us that thumbs up, hit that like button, share it with your friends. Please leave us a comment. Love to hear what you think, and as usual, thanks for watching.